Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and I haven't forgotten about dip powder, so I thought today we could do a fun and simple dip powder mani. I'll be doing a little bit of a glitter ombre as well as a really simple freehand color block. I feel like it's really beginner friendly, so the colors I picked out, these are the three colors from All Powdered Up. I have Peach Out, Best Jade Plans, and Aloe You Very Much. I absolutely love the pun names and I love these colors even more. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I like to dip one color at a time. So I'm going to start off with Aloe You Very Much. This is an aqua green with the slightest shimmer to it. I don't know if the camera is picking up the shimmer or not, but trust me, it is beautiful and you just have to see it for yourself in person. Now the jars are really full, so I just went ahead and poured my entire jar into my cast emerald just to make it easier to dip into. And I'll also be using my All Powdered Up dip liquids, which are newer. They were released maybe a month or two ago, and I did do a first impressions video on them. If you haven't checked it out, I'll leave it up above in the cards if you want to see that. But I've been really enjoying these liquids. So Aloe You Very Much, it's going to go on my index finger and pinky as a full nail. And then I will do some color blocking with this as well, but I'm going to do that last. So for now, I'm just starting with my full nails. So I went ahead and dipped my index finger. I'm cleaning up around my cuticle area and sidewalls using my precision tool because I want to make sure I don't have any excess product on my skin. And then once I've got my index finger done, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my pinky. So I'm going to let that first layer dry while I do my pinky. And by the time I'm done with my pinky, I can dust off and start with my second layer, because generally when I'm dipping, I like to do 2 layers of the color and then I'll usually cap and clear. Sometimes, depending, sometimes I will just do a third dip in color and skip the clear. But for this mani, I do 2 dips of color and then I cap in clear. After I finish with my first layer, I'm going to go ahead and dust off the excess powder. I just buy these inexpensive powder makeup brushes off of Amazon to use. And I make sure that I dust off the excess powder because if I leave that excess powder on, it could gunk up and contaminate my dip base, which I don't want to happen. So now I'm ready to start my second layer. So I'm going to remove most of the liquid from my dip base brush because if you have too much liquid, that's going to cause flooding and the product to run on your skin. So you want to make sure you have as little liquid as possible. I'm going to apply a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail. If there are any spots that I missed with the first layer, I want to make sure that I'm getting that covered with the second layer. So I'm taking my time, making sure I have everything covered. And then I'm going to go ahead and dip back into the powder. I'll dip a couple times just to make sure that I'm absorbing all that dip base. And then I'm going to take my precision tool, make sure that I'm cleaning up around my cuticle area and sidewalls to clean up those lines a little bit, as well as remove any excess product from my skin. You could see off to the side, I had a little bit too much dip base anyway, because these tips are shorter than I normally wear lately. So I just kind of tucked it in a little bit and I'll fix it with some filing and buffing, so no big deal. But that's why there was that little like bulge on the side of my nail because I did have a little too much dip base. After I finish with my 2 dips of Aloe You Very Much, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Peach Out next. This also has a very subtle shimmer to it. I hate that you can't see it on video. You just have to see it in person because the shimmers are just so beautiful. So it's going to be a full nail on my thumb, and I will use it for a color block, but I'm going to go ahead and focus on my full nail first. And that's because after this, I'm going to move on to the glitter. So before I move on to the glitter, which is Best Jade Plans, I want to make sure that I'm capping my full nails in clear so I don't contaminate it with like stray pieces of glitter. So that's why I'm not going to worry about my color block just yet. I'm going to concentrate on my full nails first, and then I will worry about the rest of the nails. So apparently I completely forgot what I did, and either I forgot or decided not to cap those full nails in clear. Luckily, they didn't get contaminated with an excess piece of glitter, but I don't know why I didn't do that. But regardless, it is what it is. So I'm going ahead and getting all my colors laid out and ready for the rest of my fingers. So I still got my peach out in the left cast emerald. In the middle, I've got Best Jade Plans, which is my glitter. And off to the right is OM Gloss. This is a really sheer pink. It's really great for an ombre, things like that, because it's like your nails but better. So I love using it for an ombre. So I'm going to go ahead and do the freehand color block on my middle finger. I promise it's easy. So I'm just going ahead, applying a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail. And then at my free edge, I want peach out. So I'm just going to angle my nail, the free edge, into peach out. I can go as high up or as low as I want. And once I have that, I'm going to tap off the excess powder, and then I have a little eyeshadow brush. I'm dipping that into Best Jade Plans. And I'm just tapping a little bit of that glitter just above where I have peach out. And it's just going to be as simple as that. And what I like about doing the glitter on top is because it's just a freehand color block, the line for peach out probably isn't exactly straight, but it's going to be hidden by the glitter. You're not going to be able to tell that it isn't straight. And then once I finished with the glitter, I went ahead and poured over OM Gloss onto the rest of the dip base just because I wanted just a little bit of color to sheer it out a little bit more. But I don't tap off the excess powder in my Chaos Emerald over it because I don't want any glitters to get into my OM Gloss. So I just did it off to the side. So it went a little quick, I know, but you have to work with your dip base because it is an air dry. So you want to work a little bit quicker, but it was really just that easy. So I dusted off the excess powder. So I'm looking at it, making sure that I'm happy with the way it looks. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for a second layer. So I'm just applying a thin, even layer of dip base to the entire nail. I'm going to start where the OM gloss is. So usually I don't start around my cuticle area, but I don't want to start at the glitter and move glitter up into the solid nail part. So that's why I'm starting a little bit higher up than I normally would. I'm just making sure I have my entire nail covered. And then the same thing is what I'm going to do is I want to follow the same line that I have with my first layer. So I'm going to dip into peach out, and then I noticed I didn't get high enough. It's lower than my first layer. So I'm going to dip back in again just to get up to that same line because I want my layers to be even. And then I'm going to tap on the glitter on a little bit above peach out, tap that off, and then I'm going to go ahead and pour over my OM gloss onto the rest of that dip base to absorb it all. And I'm not dipping in because I don't want any glitters to get into my OM gloss, which is why I'm using a little spoon, pouring over. And then I will tap off my nail on my paper towel rather than above my Chaos Gemerald to avoid that glitter contamination as well. Before I activate and file and buff, I'm going to go ahead and cap all my nails in clear, and whenever possible, I like to keep a separate jar of clear just for my glitters, which is why you see that G written on the lid of this jar, because this jar of clear is dedicated for my glitters. Now I know my Peach Out and Aloe very much aren't actual glitters, but they do have shimmer in them, so I decided just to use that. And the reason I do this is because as you're dipping a glitter nail into your jar, stray pieces of glitter can fall in there. And so eventually your jar is going to have like little glitters floating throughout it. So I wouldn't want to dip a solid nail in there and get a stray piece of glitter on my solid nail. Whereas if I dipped a glitter nail in there and a stray piece of glitter got on my glitter nail, you're probably not going to notice, so no big deal. So whenever possible, I like to have that separate jar. But after I finished dipping, I made sure everything was completely dry. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my stiff scrub brush and I'm going to scrub my nails really well to remove any of that excess clear. Scrubbing it is really important because that ensures that you don't get any graininess or cloudiness. I am using my all powdered up clear though, and I will say it is super clear. It's a really great quality, but I still like to scrub anyway. After I scrubbed my nails really well, I'm going to go ahead and apply a generous amount of activator to all my nails. I want to make sure that that activator is penetrating through all my layers of dip powder. So right now I have on 3 layers of dip powder, 2 of color, 1 of clear. So I always go a little ham with my activator before I file and buff, just to make sure it's penetrating through all the layers, because I don't want like my dip powder to file off in chunks because it didn't harden and cure properly. So I'm going to go ahead, activate all my nails, wait a full 2 minutes, and then I'll file and buff off camera, and then I'll be back. After I finished filing and buffing, I wiped off any of the excess dust with some isopropyl alcohol and a lint-free wipe, and now we're going to get into my favorite part, which is the dip top coat. In order for your dip top coat to dry, it does need a layer of activator, so I'm applying one final layer of activator to all my nails, and this dip liquid system is a little bit different than the standard that I normally use, so it's recommended that after you apply your thin layer of activator, you wait 30 seconds instead of 2 minutes for your normal standard dip liquid system. So I waited 30 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and take a lint-free wipe and some isopropyl alcohol. And I'm just going to quickly swipe my nails to remove any excess activator. I don't want to like scrub my nails, just quickly swipe it. And then once that's dry, I'm going to go in with my first layer of dip top coat. For my first layer, I'm applying it in 2 to 3 quick swipes on each nail. In between each nail, I'm wiping my brush on a lint-free wipe, this time a paper towel, just to remove any of that excess activator. And then by the time I'm done with my fifth nail, my first layer will start looking a little dull and wrinkly, and I'm going to go straight in with my second layer of dip top coat. For my second layer, I'm going to take my time, make sure I have my entire nail covered so I can take a couple extra swipes. And I also want to make sure that I'm capping my free edge. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles with my Scales of a Mermaid cuticle oil. This is the scent Son of a Beach. It's a really great summer scent. It's kind of light and fresh, and I really enjoy it. And plus, it kind of matches my mani because you know I love to match my products to my mani. If you're in the market for some good skincare products, I can't recommend Scales of Mermaid enough. And I'm not just saying that because I am an ambassador. I really, truly do believe in their products. And if you want to do some shopping, I do have an affiliate code. You can always use code Genie10 to save 10% off your orders and support me. So that wraps up today's video, and here's the finished look. Now that I'm looking at it, it actually gives me beach vibes. So apparently beach is very heavy on my mind. I think I need to get there. So I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this, and it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.